Singing toodle-lie-oodle-lie-yatty, singing toodle-lie-oodle-lie-yay, singing toodle-lie-oodle-lie-yatty. I were bound for Botany Bay. Singing toodle-lie-oodle-lie-yatty, singing toodle-lie-oodle-lie-yay, singing toodle-lie-oodle-lie-yatty. I were bound for Botany Bay. Well, I'm leaving dear Dublin forever. I'm leaving me Guinness as well. It's goodbye to the pubs that I drank in, where I used for to live like a swell. Here we go now. Singing toodle-lie-oodle-lie-yatty, singing toodle-lie-oodle-lie-yay, singing toodle-lie-oodle-lie-yatty. I were bound for Botany Bay. Singing toodle-lie-oodle-lie-yatty, singing toodle-lie-oodle-lie-yay, singing toodle-lie-oodle-lie-yatty. I were bound for Botany Bay. There's the captain who is our commander. There's the boatswain and all the ship's crew. There's the first and second class passengers. But no, we poor convicts go through. Here we go now. Singing
Hear ye, oh hear ye. You're about to witness a public flogging with a cat of 9 tails. As the name suggests, the whip has 9 plaited leather tails. Woven into the fabric of each of those tails are 5 small iron balls. So you see, when the flogger cuts into the back of the convict, the whip tends to pluck small pieces of flesh out of his back.
Prisoner.
Welcome to good old Sydney. And this really is old Sydney, back in the days of the convicts and Australia's first pioneering settlers. At this recreation of old Sydney town, just north of Sydney, you'll see just how she looked when it all began, just on 200 years ago. And this is where it all began, when Captain James Cook landed back in 1770. As the song goes, we're bound for Botany Bay.
Yes, we're bound for Botany Bay. Hey, hey!
Today, Botany Bay is still an important gateway to the exciting city of Sydney. Sydney's other important gateway is, of course, the Sydney Harbour Bridge, or what we affectionately refer to as the coat hanger. In its day, it was the most ambitious engineering project ever undertaken in Australia. For over 50 years, the coat hanger has linked the northern half of the city with the south. And while commuters flock each day in and out of the downtown business centre, commuters of a different kind pound across the bridge on a special day each year for the Harbour to Manly Joggers Marathon. You can bus, train or drive across it. Or if you feel like taking a closer look, you can walk across it. Even climb to the top of one of the massive granite pylons. And if that's not high enough for you, take a ride on Sky Cruise. These scenic airship flights are now a familiar sight in the skies above Sydney. You'll need your opera glasses to get a good look at our city's architectural pride and joy, the Sydney Opera House. From up here, it looks more like a cluster of barnacles on Bennelong Point. But from down here, the impressive white shells of the Opera Hall and the Concert Hall feel more like the light billowing spinnakers of the yachts that zigzag across Sydney Harbour. International performers, artists and travellers alike take care not to miss a visit to this cultured pearl of the South Pacific, home to the Sydney Opera Company, the Sydney Dance Company, and of course the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. The Bennelong restaurant in the Opera House is a performance of its own, reflecting both fine cuisine and the harbour nightlife. By day, the best way to see the harbour is by boat. Port Jackson, as Sydney Harbour is known, is one of the most extensive city waterways in the world and has over 250 kilometres of foreshore. Just around the corner from the Opera House, you'll find the harbour ferries pulling in and out of Circular Quay. Step up the gangway and discover the many hidden surprises around the inlets and coves of Port Jackson. The ferries work hard carrying Sydneysiders to and from the city all year round. But during the Festival of Sydney, the ferries take time out for the Sydney Ferry Boat Race. Amid banners and water cannons, all hell breaks loose as the ferries dash to the finish line in a frenzy of seething foam. Sydney Harbour is also home to some of the world's fastest yachts, the Flying 18-footers. Every Saturday, these Formula One races of the yachting world put on a spectacular display of sailing skills, while enthusiastic onlookers place their bets. For those of you who enjoy a more leisurely pace, why not sit back and enjoy a smorgasbord or candlelit dinner aboard the Captain Cook cruise boat, while your guide takes you on a memorable tour of Sydney's harbourside treasures, such as Fort Denison, or Pinchka, as the locals call it. It was built in the days of the Crimean War, when Sydney thought the Russians were going to invade. And then there's Clark Island, one of the many islands you can visit in Sydney Harbour. Abounding with maritime relics and, some say, a resident ghost, Clark Island is understandably a popular spot for family picnics. Sydney's Maritime Museum at Birkenhead is another living reminder of how important the great tall ships and windjammers were to Australia's early history as they plied back and forth to the motherland of the old world. If you want to be part of the action on Sydney Harbour, you can hire your own sail or powerboat and explore the waterways of Sydney at your leisure. There's even a barbecue boat. The best way to toss a shrimp on the barbie. Catamaran cruises allow you to step ashore and wander around a variety of delightful spots on the harbour foreshore. You'll notice a number of netted swimming areas around the harbour, such as Balmoral Beach and this one at Neilson Park. The nets are to keep out the Noah's Arks. That's local rhyming slang for sharks. But sharks are scarce these days. Another way to explore the harbour is to take a delightful stroll along miles and miles of harbourside walks. You'll see fishermen and joggers, maybe a flock of screeching parrots, or an old cannon or two. Down from the lighthouse at South Head and nestled into Watson's Bay, you'll find Doyle's Seafood Restaurant, perhaps the oldest quality restaurant in Sydney. Try some of the local seafood delicacies such as Sydney rock oysters or succulent Balmain bugs or John Dory fish. They all go exceptionally well with a fine bottle of white Hunter Valley wine. Now the thing to do at Doyle's is to dine outside, just as the late afternoon sun comes flooding in across the harbour. One of the oldest and liveliest corners of Sydney is called The Rocks. It's within a stone's throw of Circular Quay. Infamous in its heyday for drunken sailors, press gangs and ladies of the night, The Rocks is now a popular haunt for shoppers, especially among the art and craft galleries. Seafood is never far away in Sydney, but if you crave something big and Bavarian, or maybe something sweet and sour, you'll find that The Rocks caters to every taste. You can also find beautiful pieces of Aboriginal art down at The Rocks, such as these bark paintings and these hand-carved didgeridoos, each with its own story to tell. And if you really want to live the part down in The Rocks, take a hansom cab down Memory Lane. Sydney boasts some of the finest hotels in the world. Most are within easy walking distance of The Rocks. The Sydney Regent has incorporated exciting contemporary design into its luxury accommodation. The Intercontinental Hotel was once Sydney's Treasury building, and much of the original architecture has been retained. Close by is the regal Sheraton Wentworth Hotel, while towering over the hustle and bustle of Pitt Street, you'll find the Sydney Hilton. For a bit of lively adventure during the day, take the kids out to Australia's Wonderland with its outrageous roller coaster and water slide. You'll find it a short way down the Great Western Highway, but watch out for pirates. Discover the art of shopping in Sydney's elegant Queen Victoria building. But while you'll find the decor antique, you'll find the fashions upbeat. And jewellery is a special treat, particularly when it comes to opals. These fascinating gemstones are a dangerous breed. Every opal is unique, and once you start looking at them closely, you'll be hooked for life. Chic and elegance are the passwords at this department store. Whether you're shopping for perfume or the latest creations from the world's top fashion designers, you can be sure of exclusive quality from some of the world's finest stores. In Sydney, you'll find shopping to suit all occasions. At the heart of the downtown shopping district, you'll find the high-flying Sydney Tower. Take a ride up to the observation deck. Special non-reflective glass allows you to take stunning photographs. Or stay a while and enjoy a delightful meal at the revolving Sydney Tower restaurant. Travel all round the city without even leaving your table. Sydney's beaches can be found all along the 50 kilometres of the city coastline, from Cronulla in the south right up to Palm Beach at the northern tip. Sydneysiders are very fond of their beaches, and a short trip to any ocean beach close by, like Bondi or Manly, will soon show you why. You'll find some people perfecting their style, or perfecting their tan, while others keep their muscles primed or their heart pumping. The closest ocean beach to the city centre is Bondi, and is easily reached by train and bus or taxi. Bondi is famous around the world for its surfers, lifesavers and bronze sunbathers. What better way to spend a Sunday afternoon than to kick back on the warm white sand and watch the world go by? The wide variety of cafes and restaurants in Bondi reflect its growing cosmopolitan character. The trip to Manly on the harbour's northern peninsula is a leisurely ride on the ferry from Circular Quay. Or perhaps you'd prefer to zip across to Manly on the hydrofoil. Stroll along the Manly Corso. It's like a pantomime going on all around you. Or feel the cool ocean breeze as you sip your cappuccino in the sun. Manly's magic. Now, if you're looking for a ferry ride of a different breed, take a trip over to Taronga Park Zoo. Taronga Park Zoo is home to thousands of uniquely Australian animals, such as the famous kangaroo and koala. Or the amiable wombat, a cousin to the koala, but unlike the koala, which lives in eucalyptus trees, the wombat prefers to live in the ground. In the Taronga Aquarium, you can see a kaleidoscope of tropical fish from Australia's Great Barrier Reef. You can walk through the largest aviary in the Southern Hemisphere, or creep through the nocturnal house with all its weird and wonderful creatures of the night. There are also a number of wildlife parks around Sydney, such as this one at Pennant Hills Koala Park. But even here, you can still get close to our furry friends. At the Sydney Sports Ground, you'll find a different sort of wildlife. This is where you'll see the best of the team sports in action. In winter, the name of the game is football, but there are several kinds of football played in Sydney. Rugby league is perhaps the most popular and attracts sell-out crowds. You'll be lucky to get a seat for the grand final. Sydney is also the home of the Wallabies, international players in the game of rugby union. And then there's Aussie Rules. As you can guess from the name, this is a uniquely Australian game, though it's catching on overseas. The stronghold of Aussie Rules has traditionally been in Melbourne, but now the Sydney Swans are out to change all that. Summertime, and the footy fans hang up their football jerseys and don their white flannels, ready for the cricket season. Sydney was the first home of Australia's greatest all-time cricketer, the legendary Don Bradman. For the die-hard followers of cricket, the six-day test match is still the only real test of a team's worth. Sydney enjoys a wide range of golf courses too. Some are private, but most are public. Like this scenic golf course at Long Reef, where it's sometimes hard to keep your eye on the game. Edward Hargraves Lookout, just south of Sydney, not only has a spectacular panoramic view of the coast, it also has excellent conditions for hang gliding, as onshore winds give lift to these intrepid pilots. Whatever your favourite sport, chances are you'll find it in Sydney, though you may not always find your golf balls. Sydneysiders love a bit of a gamble, and if you take my tip, you'll head down to Rosehill Racecourse and take a punt on the horses. Now, if you really want to join in the fun, wear your favourite hat. The fashion stakes are also high at the Rosehill Racecourse. You can place a bet with the on-course bookmakers or at any of the government TAB offices around the city. Sydney has race meetings every Saturday throughout the year, and there are also special carnivals and mid-week meetings. All eyes turn to the home stretch as jockeys battle it out for first place in the big racing event of the year, Sydney's Golden Slipper. The prize money totals $1 million, and that's a lot of paper in anyone's book. And if you're one of the lucky ones to back the winning horse, you'll be ready for a night out on the town. First, you can let the kids loose in Luna Park. Then slip aboard the luxurious John Cadman for a divine dinner cruise on the harbour. Or roll up to the Sydney Opera House. If you arrive at the Opera House during the afternoon, you can go on a tour of the entire Opera House complex. And then you can choose your evening performance, a film or a play, or perhaps a concert or ballet. Of course, if you prefer to take a walk on the wild side, take a taxi to King's Cross. King's Cross is a haven for showgirls, bohemian artists and fortune tellers, and is still alive and kicking long after the rest of Sydney has gone to bed. Chinatown is also a live wire on the evening entertainment circuit. The local Chinese community makes sure that the August Moon Festival and the Chinese New Year celebrations go off with a bang. Maybe disco's your beat. Try Juliana's down at the Hilton Hotel and drive the night away. A beautiful morning sun at Rose Bay. Here was once the home port for giant Sunderland flying boats, which conducted regular passenger flights between London and Sydney. Today the flying boats are gone, but you can still catch a seaplane up to Palm Beach. At the northern end of Palm Beach, you'll find the Barrenjoey Lighthouse, and from there you can get a sweeping panorama of the Hawkesbury River and the pristine Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park. A popular pastime in these parts is to hire a houseboat and meander up and down the Hawkesbury River. If you go bushwalking in the Ku-ring-gai Chase, you're bound to see some native Australian animals. You might even come across some Aboriginal rock carvings. Or a waterfall to cool you down in the heat of the day. A number of marinas in the Hawkesbury provide facilities for sailors and powerboat enthusiasts alike. Water skiing is also popular in this neck of the woods. And if you've suddenly discovered you have a little more time to spare, why not try a little loveboat-style luxury cruising on the new Hawkesbury River Cruiser for 2 days and 2 nights of, well, doing everything. Or doing nothing at all. as rural pastures and old pioneer settlements slip quietly by. And if you've found that your holidays have also been slipping by, and it's almost time to leave, spare an afternoon for a relaxing walk through Sydney's lush and exotic botanic gardens. A walk through the palm forest will bring you to the entrance of the stately Art Gallery of New South Wales. Close by is Macquarie Street, which plays an important role in Sydney's history, and now is the site of the original Mint, the State Parliament, law courts, and the Sydney Conservatorium of Music. Leading off Macquarie Street is Martin Place, where you'll find colourful flower vendors in front of Australia's major banks. The General Post Office in Martin Place is regarded as the official centre of Sydney. But right here, at the top of Macquarie Street, you'll find Hyde Park and the Archibald Fountain, which is regarded by many as the soul of Sydney. Glad you could share old Sydney Town with me. But one last thing before you go. Make sure you take a boomerang home with you. That way, we'll be sure you come back.
Also available in this series, your Aussie holiday video, Destination Cairns, Gateway to the Great Barrier Reef. Cairns has something for everyone. Sun, scenery, sports, wildlife, unequalled underwater life, mouth-watering food and tropical drinks, nightlife. Whether you're there for a family vacation or for romance, whether you want to be alone or with other people, Cairns has it all. Destination Cairns, now available from Aussie Holiday Videos.